Hello and welcome to my podcast. My name is Brianna Leffler, and today I will be talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and Erikson's 8 stages of psychosocial throughout our lives. So I'll be giving some real life examples of mine, and I'm sure you'll be able to relate or think of examples of in your own life to relate to this. So in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he has 5 different stages, and he kind of describes it when we learned about it, the 5 steps but ladders to like that top tier. So the first step at the very bottom is the psychological. So this would be the need for food, drink, shelter, just your basic needs in life. That second stage is going to be your safe and secure. So that's going to be when you feel protected or secured. So that could even mean something as basic as a lock on your door, or it could mean, your medical care coverage and the medical team, your EMS coming to protect or help you, and the police force, and even financial stability could be part of that safe and secure category. And then after that is met, the third one is love and belonging. So that would be the stage in life where you feel like you're loved by most around you. You may have a significant other, or maybe it's just family and friends. And that's when you start to feel a sense of love and belonging within yourself and your life. That fourth step would be the self-esteem. So that may be a time in your life where you feel like you are respected by others and that you give respect back, kind of thing. And you may feel admired and success at this point. Like you have some successes that you're proud of, and that you may want people to look at you like, oh yeah, she did that. Like that's a pretty good thing in life, and that's another step for her, and leading up to a career or being financially stable or something small. But the fifth and final stage at the very top tier would be the self-actualization. So this is where you really find yourself. You're happy with yourself and maybe your career or your life and your hobbies that you're doing, and you feel like you have a sense of belonging, and that you're connected and becoming your unique self for sure. So I did a little activity. I did like a little scavenger hunt just within my house, and I found some examples within my own home or within my own life, and I kind of put it on a poster to describe something a little, or to make it a little more easier to understand. So I'll do the best with showing you, but with the first step being physiological, I did a picture of our house, and then I did a picture of my fridge with the food and stuff to drink in, because it's the basic needs. I have shelter, I have food, and I have water. So we'll move on to the next stage in Maslow's. It's safe and secure. So I did something as simple as my fire alarm detector and the lock on my door. Something as simple as that. It makes me feel safe and secure within my own home. If something starts to get on fire, I know I am dependent on this fire alarm to hopefully let me know what's going on before I actually see the smoke or the something going on, and then I feel safe not letting anyone uninvited into my home while my home is locked. So the third one is love and belonging. So I did a picture of my wedding ring and a engagement picture of me and my husband at the time. And so for my fourth one, which is the self-esteem, I put a picture of my my cap from graduating my LPN school in 2019, and then just this past winter semester, I got my associate's degree in general education, both from SC4. And then that fifth step, I would say I have reached some self-actualization in my life right now. I'm very happy with my career that I've chosen. I'm still continuing on with school. And so I have a picture of a stethoscope. And then I also feel like I have a self-actualization within my community in my hometown. I give back. I love volleyball as a sport. It's a huge hobby of mine. I try at any point in time to go play, whether it's co-ed or, it's high school open gym. I'm always up there. It's one of my favorite things to do in my off time. And so I teach JV volleyball, and I'm very, very happy and excited to always wait for the season to come back up. But I encourage you to do a scavenger hunt, maybe not within your home, but I mean, you could do it anywhere. Maslow's hierarchy of needs are not very hard to find some examples for. So let's move on to Erikson's theory. So he has 8 stages, and in that first stage, it's that trust and mistrust. So as an infant, which is what age that's going to be at, we're dependent on our parents. We're dependent on our moms mainly to take care of us. So when we cry, our moms are supposed to help figure out, like, do we need it changing? Do we need to eat? Do we not feel good? And, we become totally dependent on our parents to figure out what is wrong with us. So if they are good at fulfilling those needs, we're going to be trusting our parents. And but if they're not, as an infant, you could be very upset and have that mistrust as well. The second stage is autonomy versus shame or doubt. Children become self-efficient in toileting, feeding, walking, talking, almost those basic first things in that second year of life. Or they may doubt themselves. So we, at that age, we need a lot of support, and these kids need all the support from their parents, family, anyone around them that's supposed to be teaching them. And an example in my life would be my mom with me and my sisters. She always made us throw away our own pacifiers. It gave us that self-efficient activity that, like, we can make our own decisions, but mom and dad are going to be there to help you through it, kind of thing. So you don't have to doubt yourself when you do something. You'll have that background. And walking, your parents may hold your arms up and they may help you take those first steps. And even if you fall, they're going to be there and they're still cheering you on, where you're not going to doubt yourself. And that third step is initiative versus guilt. Children try to undertake adult-like activities, or they internalize the limits set by their parents. So they could be adventurous or they could be guilty. So with parenting, I know that could be hard, as a bossy child is an example, or having an imaginary friend. As a bossy child, I feel like it can be really hard for a parent to try and instruct the kid, that you can be very assertive and you can say what you want or you don't want, but there's a line of respect and disrespect. So I feel like as a child, you can be very confused with that easily. Well, I'm just trying to tell you what I want, but your parents have to instruct, how to say it and how nicely, or if you're being disrespectful or not. And the fourth stage would be industry versus inferiority. Children practice and master skills, or they feel inferior and fail. So an example of this in my life, I know, is in high school and even middle school, and even now I struggle with math. That is one of the worst subjects for me. And when I didn't get help and when I didn't ask for help, I would not do my homework. I would just give up because I knew I couldn't do it. I tried to read my books, but I was, too nervous to ask questions. I didn't tell my parents I wasn't doing my homework until they found out too late that I failed the test or my report card wasn't good. So then my parents realized, okay, we need to sit her down. We need to get her help. She's struggling. And they did do that. They sent me to tutoring. My parents sat me down and helped me. But I know if that doesn't happen, kids will fail and it'll be too late and it may cause problems for the future. Not just parents either. It could be teachers that need to step in and help, or anybody around them. And we don't need to blame parents, but you know what I mean. Then the fifth one is identity versus role confusion. This is the adolescent stage where they try and figure out, who they are, who are they going to be. Maybe they're looking for a career too, they're not sure what they want to do. And an example of this would be testing my parents, for sure. I would test them by, they'd give me a curfew, and I knew the curfew, but I knew I would wait until that last minute to get home. I was never early getting home, I know that, but I was always a couple minutes late, and my parents said, you will be grounded even if you're a minute late. Well, I always tested that, and I did get grounded, but I guess I didn't learn my lesson because I continued to do that. And I just didn't want to do chores either. I feel like at this age, we just, we want that independence and we want to do it on our own time. And that's when we get role confused. You're still in adolescence. You still need to listen to your parents. You still need to follow rules. You're not mature and old enough to figure that out on your own yet. So with the sixth step, or stage, I should say, is intimacy versus isolation. So the young adults seek companionship and love, or become isolated. So this can be, especially at my age, I can't say that I'm isolated or feel lonely because I am married. And I'm 23, I'll be 24, but people my age, they already feel isolated or alone because they don't have a significant other. We tend to compare ourselves as we age. And I know people around me always say like, oh, I'm never going to get married and this and that. And it's all within their own time, obviously, but they definitely, I can agree with this stage that people feel isolated if they do not feel that sense of almost like a love and belonging in Maslow's. That's when they can feel isolated from other people, and they may sit at home and think that they're going to be alone forever. So these next two stages I'm not in, but I will still give examples. The seventh stage is generativity versus stagnation. So this is where middle-aged adults contribute to future generations through work, parenthood, or they stagnate. So an example of this here that's happening around me is that I can see some people going through midlife crisis. They may think like that their life isn't where it should be, or they may be thinking negative. And an example of that could be like in my life right now, my parents are going through a divorce, so I can definitely see where this is a huge factor in life. Midlife crisis, they may be looking back and being confused and just things like that. So and in stage 8 is integrity versus despair. Older adults try to make sense of their lives, either see meaning or goals, or they never met. So an example of this could be, your grandparents reflecting back on their life to you, whether they're sharing their joyful experiences, or maybe they're negative and they're trying to teach you a lesson so you don't do that same thing as you grow up, or they try and steer you into the right path rather than the path they may have taken might have been harder for them. So they either reflect on that and try to teach and be a mentor, or they could be so negative, that they either take it as a lesson for others, or they may take it as like a fail in their life. So well, that is what I have today. Thank you for coming to my podcast, and you have a great rest of your day.